Well, hello, Charlie. You there?
How you doing, Colin? Welcome back to yet another live stream.
Yep, this is CNC Talks live. We are live on YouTube, and I'm Colin. That's Charlie, and we're going to be doing our March Madness brackets, Charlie. The
Yes, we
tournament,
are. I have yet to fill out one of mine, but we can go over the women's one because I've finished that one already.
yeah, tournaments. Men's tournament kicks off in earnest tomorrow, and the women's tournament kicks off in earnest on Friday. And Charlie, it really is possibly the greatest sporting event of the year every year.
Depending on who you talk to, it very well could be.
I mean, the upsets, some of them are incredible. We already do have some results from the first four in the men's bracket. Fairleigh Dickinson, they beat Texas Southern. We also had Texas A&M Corpus Christi beat Southeast Missouri State. And we had Pittsburgh take down Mississippi State. And we're right in the middle of Arizona, Nevada. And in the women's bracket, we've also had a couple games. Mississippi State took down Illinois, and then we're also right in the middle of Sacred Heart Southern. Again, these are all first four games, two more first four games on the women's side tomorrow, Charlie. And before we get into our brackets, let's quickly mention episode 10 of season 2 of our podcast was just released 5 p.m. earlier. So make sure you check that out. We did release it later than we normally like to release our episodes. We had some technical issues. Try to get back on track next week. Episode 11 scheduled to come out on Tuesday morning, although we're thinking about changing it to the afternoon. We will keep you posted. Also, remember to follow us on Twitter. That's at CC Talks Podcast. There's plenty of other places to find us. cctalks.net. You can call us 360-389-2630 with questions. Also, of course, if you have questions for us during this live stream, put them in the comments section. We will be happy to answer them. Charlie, you ready to get into the brackets?
All right, let's do it.
All right, so yeah, we're going to start with the women's bracket. Start first round up in the top left corner. This is Greenville Region 1. First matchup, South Carolina, Norfolk State. This is a matchup that will be taking place on Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN. Who do you have in this one, Charlie?
South Carolina.
Yeah, I feel like South Carolina really the obvious pick, right?
Yep.
Best team in the country for a reason.
Yep.
Undefeated, an incredible season.
All right, what's next?
All right, next up is actually the first game of the tournament. This is 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Friday morning on ESPN2. This is not the 9-seed Marquette and the 8-seed South Florida out of Greenville 1. Who you got?
Who you got, Colin?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with South Florida on this one. Don't know a lot about these teams, so it's just kind of a feeling that I've got.
Yeah, I'm going Marquette.
You're gonna go Marquette, okay?
Because they're a team I've heard of before.
Team you've heard of before, yeah. Marquette out of the Big East Conference, South Florida out of the American Conference. Although Charlie, you really get the feeling, and we'll get to this in a little while, but you get the feeling it doesn't matter that much. They play South Carolina in the second round.
Yeah.
Moving on down the bracket, this is Oklahoma, the 5 seed, and Portland, the 12 seed. This game taking place on, I believe, we've got this one on Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific time on ESPNU. Charlie, what do you think? Portland, a shocking win in the West Coast Conference over Gonzaga just to get to the tournament.
Yeah, while that's being said, I still have Oklahoma, but great season from Portland.
Yeah, and I mean, I think momentum matters, but at the same time, I'm going to go Oklahoma.
And momentum can only take you so far.
Yeah. Also, of course, these first and second round matchups played at the home of the top 16 seeds in the tournament, so the top 4 seeds in each region. So this game taking place in Los Angeles because the number 4 seed in this region is UCLA. They're going to be taking on Sacramento State, 13 seed in the first round. That's 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, ESPN2 on Saturday, Charlie. Who you've got?
I have UCLA.
Yeah, same here. Just a pretty good team.
Yep.
Moving right along down the bracket, it's Creighton and Mississippi State, as we were discussing earlier, Charlie. Mississippi State just getting in through the play-in. That being said, is that going to take them through to the second round?
I have them beating Creighton.
Okay, then. And I am going to disagree with you on this one. I've got Creighton. Is that our first split, or did we did
No, we split on South Florida Marquette.
Yeah, South Florida Marquette. So got a bit of a split there. That game, that's going to be on Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN News. The opponent they'll face in the second round is the winner of the 3-14 matchup, also taking place on Friday between Notre Dame and Southern Utah. That game at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, ESPN2, Charlie.
I have Notre Dame.
Yeah, home court advantage helps so much in the women's tournament. I believe last season, Charlie, all top 16 seeds in the women's tournament managed to win in the first round. So that's a huge advantage there that the men's tournament does not have. Yeah, so Notre Dame both have going through Arizona and West Virginia. This is another this is a 10-7 matchup taking place early Friday morning for those on the West Coast, 9 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN. Charlie, who you got?
I have Arizona.
I'm going to go with you too. I have not yet picked an upset, by the way, in the women's bracket.
No, you have not.
And the final matchup in the first round in the Greenville 1 region between 2-seeded Maryland and 15-seeded Holy Cross, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, Friday on ESPN News. Charlie, I think I know where this pick is heading for you.
I'm taking the Terrapins.
As am I. Maryland, fully expect them to get into the second round of the tournament. Now let's head down into the Seattle 4 region of the bracket. 1 seed in this region, Charlie, is Stanford. That game is going to be at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN2 Friday as they take on the winner of the play-in game currently going on between Southern and Sacred Heart. I have to imagine that you're going to go Stanford on this one.
I will.
All right. And then Ole Miss Gonzaga as we continue on here. Your thoughts?
I'm taking Gonzaga.
I am also going to go Gonzaga on this one. They had obviously a disappointing result in their conference tournament versus Portland in the finals, which allowed Portland to sneak into the bracket. But I just feel like they're a better team at the moment than Ole Miss. Moving on to Drake Louisville. Drake, the 12 seed, Louisville, a 5 seed. This game, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, Saturday, ESPN2, Charlie.
I will go with Louisville.
Okay. I will also go with Louisville. Really not a lot of daylight between our brackets so far. I imagine that'll change as we get into the later rounds.
That will.
Of course, we've got Texas, East Carolina. This is another one. It's coming up on Saturday. This is actually a late night game, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Who's your pick?
I'm going Texas.
Yeah, like we said, really, really difficult to pick upset of a top 4 team or a top 4 seed in the first round in the women's tournament. Imagine that in the men's tournament, we definitely picked a couple.
I haven't filled mine out yet, but I know what I'm going to pick, so yeah.
Yeah. Colorado, Middle Tennessee, 6-11 game, Charlie.
I don't see an upset here. I think Colorado's going to be fine.
You do think Colorado's going to survive?
Yeah, I do.
Well, here's some daylight between us. Middle Tennessee. I like this team actually quite a bit. I think that they will be able to take down Colorado, who had a good season. Rough end to it, but a good season. I think that they'll be able to take down the Buffaloes in the first round, calling them into the second round for a matchup with the winner of Duke Iona. I've got Duke in this one, Charlie.
See, we flipped again because I have Iona.
That's a big upset that you're predicting. Any specific reason?
There hasn't been any chaos yet, so I figured I'd give some people a little bit of that.
Yeah, that game coming up 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, ESPN2 on Saturday. And into the final couple games on the left side of the bracket, Florida State and Georgia. Florida State, the 7 seed in this one. Charlie, your pick?
I have another upset. I'm going Georgia.
You're in Georgia. I will also take Georgia on this one. I don't really have a good reason for it. It just felt right, and that's kind of what brackets are all about. I feel like we know that they're going to get busted. They always do.
Yep.
And then the final matchup of this side of the bracket, Iowa and Southern Louisiana. I think I know where this one's going to. This one, 1 p.m. Pacific time on Friday on ESPN.
I'll go Iowa.
I am very high on Iowa at the moment. I'll foreshadow a little bit. I could see them going really, really, really far in this tournament.
Yeah.
Let's go to the other side of the bracket now. We've got the number 1 seed, Indiana. This is the first game on Saturday on ESPN2. They'll face the winner of the play-in between Tennessee Tech and Monmouth.
I have Indiana.
I can't see an upset here. It feels pretty impossible that Indiana will go down in the first round. Oklahoma State and Miami.
I'm taking Miami.
I will go the other direction on this one. I got Oklahoma State.
I just realized I am really feeling the 9 seeds today, I guess.
I feel like, I don't know about the women's bracket, but in the men's bracket, interesting fact, Charlie, 9 seeds have a winning record against 8 seeds all time.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, remember a few years ago, I believe it was 2019, I believe all 4 9 seeds actually won in the first round, all getting defeated in the second round as well. About Washington State coming off a really impressive run at the Pac-12 championship, Charlie. They're going to take on FGCU.
I can't see them losing that one.
Yeah, I was not especially high on Washington State, but then they just completely shocked me, won the Pac-12 tournament. I'm now really high on them, actually. Got them winning by a pretty comfortable margin, too. And then Villanova, Cleveland State, Charlie, this one.
I'm going Villanova.
This one was tough for me, actually.
Yeah, me too, actually, surprisingly.
Villanova is like the one top 4 seed team that I was just like, ooh, I'm not sure. And I did ultimately pick them, but that was a difficult pick for me. I think that they're slightly overseeded personally, especially the 1 and 6 against ranked opponents this season.
All right, Michigan UNLV. Who do you have in that one, Colin?
Upset time.
I have UNLV as well.
All right, yeah, no, I just think I don't want to say that they're the better team because they're ranked significantly lower, but I don't think that there's that big of a difference, and also it's March Madness. So, yeah, I got UNLV.
All right, LSU and Hawaii.
Can we just talk for a minute, Charlie, first about how Hawaii probably has to fly all the way to Louisiana to play 1 game?
And then fly all the way back.
And then fly all the way home. And these are students.
Yep, so I presume that you have LSU winning then?
Yes.
As do I.
It would be fun to see Hawaii make a run.
Yes, it would, but I just don't see it.
No.
All right, and then the final one in Greenville 2, Oh no, sorry, we have 2 left.
Two more, yeah.
NC State and Princeton. Who do you have there?
I got NC State.
I
Not
do
a-
as
I
I do
have a
as well.
rule. I just don't pick the Ivy League in March Madness.
I don't really pick them in anything.
And there's some sports where they're not terrible at. It is difficult though with their conference's rules to field good sports teams.
And then Utah and Gardner Webb.
Utah.
Utah as well. All right, let's move to Seattle 3 and let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
After
Yeah,
round 1.
at least for round 1. Virginia Tech, Chattanooga. It's Virginia Tech. Let's be clear. There's not going to be a 16-1 upset in this women's tournament. It hasn't happened since the 90s. It's not going to happen this year.
All right, then Southern California, South Dakota.
This is a tough one for me. South Dakota State, actually. I'm gonna go with the upset here. Actually,
I am finally not gonna pick an upset in the 8-9, and I'm gonna go Southern California.
So you got Southern California. No, I think it's a tough matchup, but I don't know. I kind of like South Dakota State. Iowa State, Toledo.
I have Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State, another team that I'm really high on at the moment, both in the men's and women's brackets. Get to that later, of course. Tennessee, St. Louis, Charlie.
Tennessee, St. Louis. I'm going Tennessee.
Yeah, feels like the right pick. North Carolina, they'll play the winner of the play-in game tomorrow between Purdue and St. John's.
And they'll win no matter what.
They'll win them. You think that they'll win no matter what?
Yeah.
I will agree with you. I think that North Carolina is maybe a slightly underseeded team. Ohio State, James Madison, Charlie.
I have James Madison.
You are really picking the upsets today. I mean,
my goal is just see in my World Cup prediction. It was just, what can I do that causes the most chaos? And it actually almost worked. So that's my plan this time.
Last year?
Yeah, last year's World Cup.
Oh, in the World Cup. You did. You picked Morocco to go to the finals, and they came so close.
Yeah, other than that, I think I had it all correct.
I know that you aced the first round.
And the second round, too.
Did you pick Brazil to go down early in the quarterfinals?
I did.
Okay, wow. I'm pretty impressed.
If I'm wrong, by the way, anyone watching this, go watch our episode that we did on that.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, go watch our episode. All 0 of the people watching our live stream right now.
I thought we had 1.
I don't know, I've got 0, but it might be 1.
Yeah, no, I see 0 as well.
Go watch our episodes. They're good.
Yep. You're the best audience we could ever have.
Yeah, because if you're the one person watching, you show up when no one else will.
Whoever that was, thank you.
Thank you.
It's probably Morris, isn't it?
It's probably Morris, yeah. Morris not helping produce this live stream. That's okay, though.
All right, let's finish this up. Baylor and Alabama.
I like the Baylor Bears just because they have tournament experience. Obviously, players are different, but a lot of the coaching staff, of course, Kim Mulkey not there, but a lot of the coaching staff, that they know what it takes to win in the NCAA tournament.
Yep. All right, and then UConn, Vermont. Who do you have?
UConn, like always, just comes out and wins by like 50 in the first round, and I don't have a reason to think that the trend's not going to continue.
Well, you see, usually I like causing chaos. I'm not going to do that this time. Vermont has no chance.
You had me there for a second.
You thought I was going to go against UConn, didn't you?
I was about to.
Oh, that would be fun.
That would have been fun, actually. Yeah.
All right, who you got round 2?
All right, yeah. So let's start back at the top of the bracket in round 2. We're talking South Carolina and Marquette. We kind of discussed this a little bit.
South Carolina.
It's not close.
All right, let's move through these a little bit more. We got Oklahoma and UCLA. I think both of us have Oklahoma and UCLA, right?
Yeah, I have Oklahoma, UCLA. Oh, and I did have South Florida against.
But
South
it
Carolina.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter either.
No, it literally doesn't matter. But yeah, Oklahoma, UCLA is a matchup that we both have right now. Your thoughts?
I'm gonna go UCLA.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same thing. UCLA generally performs pretty well in these NCAA women's tournaments. So we shall see. That continues. Charlie, you've got Mississippi State playing Notre Dame. I've got Creighton playing Notre Dame.
I think Notre Dame wins no matter what.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, so Notre Dame. So far now into the Sweet 16, we put the same three teams through.
All right, Arizona and Maryland.
Arizona and Maryland. Yeah, it's Maryland. I've got
Maryland.
I've got all top 4 seeds going through. In fact, so far in this region, I have picked the top seed in every game in this region.
All right, so Stanford and Gonzaga.
So I have not liked Stanford down the stretch run of this season at all.
Are you picking Gonzaga?
That being said, Stanford is a good team in the tournament, and Stanford is playing at home in the second round game, or potential second round game, where they have performed quite well all season.
So you have Stanford.
I have Stanford.
I do as well.
Yeah.
All right, Louisville, and you have Texas, right?
I do have Texas, and so do you, correct?
I do, and I have Texas moving on.
You have Texas moving on. So do I, though. This was the pick, Charlie, that I struggled on for a while.
Yeah, this one took me a while as well.
Then, of course, we've got you had Colorado Iona. I went the exact opposite. I went MTSU Duke.
All right, who you got moving on?
I'm going to go with the Duke Blue Devils.
I'm going with Iona again.
I guarantee you this is going to bust, but if it doesn't, then
if this works, this is going to be amazing.
Here's the thing is, but if you listen to our podcast at all, Charlie makes a lot of bold predictions.
And somehow they always work.
No. They do not always work. A lot of them fail miserably.
Okay, but considering the amount of things I've said, yeah, a shocking amount of them surprisingly actually go well.
Most of them still flame out spectacularly, but a lot of them.
But about 40% of them are actually correct.
I'll give you that, and it's actually kind of impressive. And Charlie, we've both got Georgia and Iowa.
I have Iowa.
Yeah, like I said earlier, very, very, very high on Iowa and Caitlin Clark in particular, and what that team can do going forward. Charlie, so you've got an Iona-Iowa matchup.
I do.
That's an interesting name matchup.
All right, who you got on the other side then?
Yeah, so we both went Indiana, Oklahoma State. Am I correct, or did you pick Miami?
No, I have Miami.
You have Miami. Okay.
Indiana's winning it.
It doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, and then Washington State, Villanova. How about that one?
So, like I said, it was very difficult for me to pick Villanova in the first round. On the flip side, Wazoo was maybe the easiest non-top 2 seed for me to pick in the first round. So it's pretty obvious for me I'm going Washington State.
I will as well. All right. We both have UNLV and we both have LSU. Who's moving on?
Who is moving on in this one? LSU. They have a pretty.
I'm only gonna have one. I'm only gonna have one of my bold predictions go further than round 2, so I'm taking LSU.
Yeah, feels like the safe choice. As you'll see in the men's bracket, I don't always make safe choices, but
Colin, you almost always do though.
Actually, you're not wrong. I think I picked the favorite in every round of 16 World Cup game.
You did.
I also think that I got 7 out of 8. So it worked.
You did, but you were wrong.
What?
You did, but you were wrong.
On one of them, yeah.
Yes.
No, you're right. I don't actually make
you were wrong on Spain, Morocco, I believe.
Yeah, correct. I did pick Spain over Morocco.
All right, and then We both have NC State and Utah, correct?
Correct, yes.
All right, I have Utah.
Well, then we have found a split in the road.
You're going NC State.
Yeah, another team that I just like that tournament experience from that team.
All right, that's a surprise.
I think that matters. Utah still. I mean, what is it? Is this like their first good season in a long time?
Yeah, it is. But I just
don't think they had an okay year last year.
I just think NC State just doesn't quite have enough. I like them this year. I just don't think they have quite enough.
Yeah. All right. Virginia Tech, and then you've got USC, and I've got South Dakota State. This is, of course, so Virginia Tech, the 1 seed in Seattle 3 region. As we move on to that final region of the bracket here,
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Virginia Tech's second round matchup heading into the Sweet 16, according to both of us, really. We've both got Iowa State, Tennessee, Charlie.
Yep, and I'm going Iowa State.
I am too, like I said, very high on Iowa State right now.
All right, you have North Carolina, Ohio State. I have North Carolina, James Madison. Sorry, Ohio State. I'm right. Sorry. Yeah, North Carolina, James Madison.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have North Carolina.
You're going UNC.
I presume you're going Ohio State?
No, I'm going UNC as well.
Oh, are you? All right.
I do make some upset picks. I don't think I make a lot of big upset picks, but I make some.
Baylor, UConn.
UConn.
I'm going UConn.
UConn is a very, very, very good basketball program.
I agree.
And both men's and women's.
Yeah. All right.
We are moving on.
Sweet 16.
To the Sweet 16, exactly. And let's start with that South Carolina UCLA matchup that we both have in that Greenville 1 region.
I'm going South Carolina again.
We will see if either of us pick against South Carolina, but so far, I don't even think that they're going to have much trouble in the first 3 rounds, barring injuries.
All right. So then, who do you have in the Sweet 16?
I think we both have Notre Dame, Maryland. Is that correct?
Yes. And I'm going Maryland.
I will as well go Maryland in this one.
Okay, and then we both have Stanford.
Would have been a 1 seed.
We both have Stanford, Texas.
Yeah, both have Stanford, Texas.
I'm going Stanford.
I am too. This game is going to be in Seattle next weekend. I might actually go to this game or one of these games this weekend, Charlie.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So then the next match you have Duke and Iowa, correct?
Yes, and you have Iowa and the ultimate Cinderella, Iona.
I have Iona not making it this time. I have Iowa.
You are very good at these teases, aren't you?
I am, and I find it funny because I know that you're going to keep falling for them.
I totally did fall for that one. Glad I kept my mouth shut long enough for you to finish that sentence.
It is amusing because that does sound like something I would do, though.
Oh, 100% it sounds like something you would do.
All right.
As it stands, we have the same first 4 teams into the Elite 8. Let's go to the other side of the
Indiana, Washington State.
Yeah, this is Greenville 2.
Indiana.
I thought for a long time about picking Washington State in this one.
I just couldn't do it.
You stole my line. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
All right.
It's painful. And that's coming from someone who's not even a Wazoo fan, but it's painful to pick against them, but I gotta do it. Gotta do it.
And I will be right back.
Okay. And let us use this moment as Charlie has hopped away from the mic for a moment to discuss some other smaller stories in the sports world, or not necessarily smaller stories, but other sports stories. We've got Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic playing in the World Baseball Classic. Winner goes on to the quarterfinals. Loser is eliminated, and shockingly, Puerto Rico with the win. Dominican Republic is out, going just 2-2. in pool play.
I'm back.
Yeah, Charlie, we're just discussing while you stepped away. So the World Baseball Classic in Puerto Rico upsetting the Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic going home.
What a game that was.
Yeah, 5-2 final score. Puerto Rico will finish second place in that division or in that pool. We'll see who they play later. The U.S. right now in a 0-0 game against Colombia. U.S. needs to win to advance. We'll see how or which direction that one goes. Talk about, I think we left off with LSU. You have LSU, Utah. I've got LSU, NC State.
I have Utah.
I'm going to go LSU in this one, but yeah, because I had Utah going out to NC State. I think that if Utah had played LSU, I probably would have picked Utah, but that's not the matchup I have.
Okay, Iowa State, Virginia Tech, I believe we both have.
Yeah, we do.
I'm going Virginia Tech.
I've said that I am very, very high on Iowa State.
You have them winning.
So high that I will put them in to the Elite Eight.
Wow.
Over Virginia Tech. And that's a very risky pick for me. It probably won't work out, but that's the way. That's what my gut's telling me.
At least you have a chance to get past the first round, unlike me.
At least what?
At least you have a chance to get past round one. I really don't.
Because of Iona and
because of Iona and James Madison.
I respect that. I respect those picks. And frankly, if I was going to pick 3-14 upsets or 14-3 upsets, those are the two I would have picked.
All right, let's move. Should we move on now to the final 8 games remaining?
No, we still got UNC UConn for both of us.
You're right, we do. I have UConn.
Yeah. All right. We are down, Charlie, to the final 8 teams in the women's bracket. This game is being played next Sunday and Monday, March 26th to 27th. Start with the Greenville 1 regional
South Carolina.
Final. I didn't even get to finish my sentence, and that's because it's an obvious pick.
South Carolina.
Did you even think about this pick when you saw it on your bracket?
No, honestly, I saw the bracket and I put South Carolina immediately in the Elite 8.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how good they are. I really think that the only thing that can stop them is injury.
I agree.
Let's go to the Seattle 4 regional final. We've both got Stanford and Iowa in this one, Charlie.
Stanford.
You got Stanford?
Yep.
Like I said, Stanford closed the season really poorly, I'm going to be honest. But I overlooked that for a little while. But then I started to think about Iowa a bit, and this is a really good team. I've got Iowa going to Detroit, I think, is where the Final Four is this year.
All right.
All right.
And then Indiana, I have Utah, and you have LSU?
Yes, correct.
I have Utah.
You have Utah going to the Final Four.
I do.
Got Indiana. Sorry.
All right, and then in the other half.
Yeah, you have Virginia Tech, UConn. I have UConn, Iowa State. I do think that this is the end of the line for Iowa State. UConn to the Final Four.
I have the same thing.
You have them over Virginia Tech.
Yep.
All right. Now let's talk March 31st in Detroit, Michigan, Charlie. What's going down between, let's start on the other side, actually. It's going down between, for you, Utah and UConn.
I have UConn.
UConn back to the finals for Charlie. Of course, South Carolina beating UConn in the final last year. We'll see in a moment if he thinks that we'll get a rematch. I'm going to pick Indiana to go to the finals. Yes.
All right,
All
South
right.
Carolina, Stanford.
I want you to go first on this one. You got South Carolina, Stanford. Who's coming
I'm
out on
going
top?
South Carolina. We're getting a rematch.
What?
We're getting a rematch. South Carolina.
Okay. I'm going to take a moment to explain this pick, okay? Because this is what I wanted the finals to be. I had it South Carolina, Iowa in the Final Four. I wish that they were on opposite sides of the bracket because I feel like these, in my opinion, these are the top two teams in the country. However, one is far, far superior to the other still, and that is South Carolina.
All right.
They're going to be playing Indiana.
So then here's the big question.
Who is your national champion?
Colin, go ahead.
Should we say it at the same time? Because I imagine that we picked the same thing.
I don't know. We'll see.
Let's say it. 3, 2, 1. South Carolina.
I have UConn.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
Because it's March Madness. Something stupid is going to happen. I have UConn. They've proven they can do it.
They have.
And I just see no reason why they can't beat South Carolina.
That is a wild pick, and I like it.
All right.
I still think South Carolina is going to win, but I don't know. I have no objection to that pick.
All right, Colin, I'll give you a little bit of time to go through the news stories while I fill out my men's bracket.
Yeah, all right. So let's talk a bit more about the World Baseball Classic, and we'll head over to some NFL stories. Of course, we'll recap all of this on next week's edition of the CNC Talks podcast. It's, again, coming out likely 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Of course, talk some politics as well as the Trump investigations continue to heat up. All the latest from the Silicon Valley Bank disaster, what that means to the market. We'll discuss all of that on Tuesday. But right now, let's stick to sports. So in the World Baseball Classic, Cuba defeating Australia in the quarterfinals. So they will be moving on to the semifinals. That is the first team into the into the semifinals. Italy will play Japan 3 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow for that second spot in the quarterfinals, and then Mexico clinching a spot in the quarterfinals. Venezuela again going 4-0. Puerto Rico 3-1 to clinch their spots. Final game out, USA and Colombia. Be an interesting tiebreaker if the US ends up losing to Colombia, but I think, given their head-to-head, that the US will still go on to the quarterfinals, likely playing Venezuela, though that is slightly uncertain at this time. It all depends on what happens in this game between the US and Colombia. Meanwhile, NFL free agency has begun, and obviously the biggest news is that Aaron Rodgers announced that he is planning on going to the Jets, something that we'll definitely debate for a while on next week's podcast about what that actually means for the Jets, the AFC at large. That means for really the entire league. My personal take on it is that Aaron Rodgers is definitely not as good of a quarterback as he used to be, and that the Jets, I mean, they could add a lot of really good wide receivers, as we know Aaron Rodgers wants, and I still see them as like a 6 or 7 seed probably. I still think that they'll probably make the playoffs. A lot could, of course, change in the 6 months before the NFL season starts. Some other news: Baker Mayfield going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lots of quarterback movement. Movement in general. Jalen Carter, one of the top draft picks or projected draft picks. He's from Georgia. This is Georgia's pro day today. It did not go well for Jalen Carter. Of course, he was charged earlier this month with reckless driving and racing. Today he showed up at pro day 9 pounds heavier than he was at the combine a couple weeks ago, and was so winded and was cramping that he was not able to finish his drills. So very worrisome for his draft stock. And we'll discuss what all of this means to the NFL next week on the CNC Talks podcast, episode 11. Charlie, we've got an F1 race this weekend, I believe, in Saudi Arabia. And yeah, Charlie, how are we doing? Are we ready to go? Got your bracket filled out?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready for the first bit anyway.
You're ready? All right. You ready for the first round, you said?
Yes.
All right. Start with the South region. The finals for the South region will be taking place in Louisville on Sunday the 26th, but the first round kicking off in Birmingham on Thursday. Alabama and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Charlie, we just saw Corpus Christi in the first four. Can they do it against the number 1 overall seed?
Nope.
It really doesn't. It's not more. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that.
Nope. No, they can't.
All right, another game in Birmingham. This one actually, the first game of the tournament, 9 a.m. Pacific time on CBS. That's tomorrow. West Virginia, Maryland, Charlie. 8-9
I have West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same thing. The Big Ten, when it comes to March Madness, is a disaster, and it's really hard until they prove that they can win games in March. It's really hard to pick any other teams to win games in March.
Yeah.
These games in Orlando, also tomorrow. It's San Diego State and Charleston, that 5-12 matchup, Charlie.
I have San Diego State in that one.
Yeah, same. Pretty high on San Diego State right now. Pretty high on all 4 of the Mountain West teams that made the tournament.
Yeah.
Although it looks like last time I checked, Nevada was losing. Let's see if that is still the case. Nevada is losing pretty badly to Arizona State in the first 4 at the moment.
All right. How about Virginia and Furman?
I struggled on this one. Virginia's a team that confuses me. I'll put it that way. But yeah, I'm still going to go Virginia.
I mean, isn't Virginia the team that lost to a 16 seed at one point?
This is Virginia's tournament history, Charlie. It's perplexing, okay? I'm going to date back as far as 2018 because they lost. They were the number 1 overall seed in 2018, and they became the first team to lose to a 16 seed. They lost to UMBC, and they didn't just lose. They lost by 20 points.
Let's go Retrievers.
In 2019, they came back, were 1 seed again, and you know what they did?
Didn't they win?
They won the entire thing. In 2020, obviously the season was canceled due to COVID, but they were on pace to miss the tournament. 2021, they were a 4 seed. And you know what happened to them?
They lost immediately, right?
They got first rounded by, I believe, Ohio.
Not Ohio State, just Ohio.
Ohio State also got first rounded by Oral Roberts that year. And
then last year, I predicted that one.
Yeah. And then last year, you know what happened to Virginia?
Sorry, I don't remember.
They missed the tournament again.
Now I know why I didn't remember.
Yeah, really a wild few years for this Virginia Cavaliers franchise.
Do you have them winning or not?
Yes. You?
I do too.
Yeah. All right, now we get into what I think is a really interesting matchup. Creighton and NC State. Creighton coming out of the Big East. NC State out of the ACC.
Yeah, this one made me think for a little bit, but I'm going to go with Creighton.
It's also made me think for a little bit. However, it's the ACC in the tournament, and we're going NC State.
You are?
Yeah. I believe I picked their women's team for a couple of upsets as well. Also, I will probably change my bracket a million times before they officially lock at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Speaking of which, looking at the teams who we saw in both brackets, guess who I just found as the number 13 seed in the West?
Who?
It's Iona again.
It's Iona again. It is.
We'll get to them later, though.
We'll get to them later. I'm really fascinated to see what you'll do with them. Baylor and UC Santa Barbara, Charlie.
Baylor.
Yeah.
That one was pretty easy.
Yeah, I see that you have not yet picked an upset. Oh, you did pick a 9-8 upset, if you can call that an upset. But
I don't.
Yeah, I don't really consider that to be an upset either. Missouri, the 7th seed, and Utah State. This taking place in Sacramento tomorrow. By the way, the last 2 games, Creighton, NC State, and Baylor, UCSB, those will be in Denver on Friday.
All right, who do you have for Missouri, Utah State?
I did say I'm very, very high on the Mountain West as a conference right now. Shockingly getting 4 teams into the tournament. I think that they're going to come to play. Utah State, really hot right now. Utah State. I'm
gonna go against you there. I'm picking Missouri.
You are gonna pick Missouri. I don't mind that pick. I just think that
I just realized since we're not counting 9-8s, I don't have any upsets so far.
No, you really don't. And Arizona,
trust me, that's gonna change.
Of course, we know that. It's you, Charlie. Things are gonna change. Arizona, Princeton.
I have Arizona.
That's not a hard pick.
No. All right, let's move on. Purdue and either Texas Southern or FDU. Who won that?
It was FDU that won that. This is again in the East region, which will play its regional games at Madison Square Garden in New York City. But
I'm sorry, but does this matter? Purdue wins.
No, you're right. It doesn't really. Purdue wins. They're a 1 seed. These games though in Columbus, Ohio, on Friday. Memphis FAU, Charlie.
I'm going Memphis.
Yeah, Memphis is that pick for me as well. I really liked what they did against Houston in that AAC championship game. Duke and Oral Roberts, Charlie, because this one took me a while, probably longer than it should have.
If there's one lesson that we can learn, never overhype a squad, because whenever you do that, they come crashing down. I'll take Oral Roberts. Thank you.
I really like that pick, Charlie. I really, really like that pick.
Are you taking that pick as well?
I am really high on Oral Roberts after what they did in the Summit League this year. An incredibly impressive season from that squad. I do like Duke, though. I really like what John Schreier's done in his first year at the program. I thought about this for a long time. I couldn't get myself to do it, though. Give me Duke.
All right. Tennessee and Louisiana.
I did not want to make that pick. I can't stand the Duke Blue Devils.
You then go with Oral Roberts, man.
I can't do that, though.
All right. Tennessee and Louisiana.
Tennessee. What more needs
I'll
to be
take Tennessee. Louisiana and Providence. Kentucky and Providence.
Yeah, this game's in Greensboro. This gave me so much pause, Charlie, because Kentucky's another really interesting team. Kentucky considered to be one of the best programs historically around the country, are they not?
Yep, they are.
But the last time that they made the Final Four, quick trivia question.
No, must have been a few years ago.
2014.
Yeah. Wow.
Missed the tournament in 2021. Upset by St. Peter's in the first round in 2022 as a 2 seed.
Peacocks. And that is why I'm going to go with Providence.
I get that, but I can't see them making the same mistake again.
I can.
I think that they coming into these matchups thinking that it's going to be an easy matchup. I think that Kentucky's learned. I think that Kentucky will learn from its mistakes and come to play ball. And at the end of the day, they're a better team than Providence.
I mean,
Kentucky time.
You would think that Kentucky would learn from its mistakes, but I mean, they've elected Mitch McConnell multiple times.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
Sorry to get political, all 0 people who are watching this, but
I think we're up to 2 now. But
had to be made.
Hey, if you listen to our podcast, chances are you share our political views because we talk about politics quite a bit on our podcast.
Trust me, Colin loves making that kind of joke.
Yes, that's true. All right, let's move on. Kansas State, Montana State. Montana State's, Charlie, another team that I found really difficult to pick against, but ultimately I did have to.
Yeah, I did as well. I know I like to do some nuts picks, but I just couldn't do it. I'm taking Kansas State.
Yeah. I have not picked an upset in this region yet.
I have picked exactly 2.
What?
I've picked exactly 2.
There's some pretty big upsets, though.
I've just realized I've had Duke getting first rounded in both brackets so far.
Yeah, you're right. All right, Michigan State and USC. This is in Columbus on Saturday.
Oh, this is difficult. I'm going to go Michigan State. This one made me think for a while, though.
Did make me think. Michigan State's close to home, though. That's ultimately what was not the tiebreaker that I used. Go Spartans.
All right, and then I think this one should be pretty easy. Marquette and Vermont.
It was that easy for you?
Yeah, I'm going Marquette.
This was the toughest 2-15 matchup for me. I love what Vermont's done this year, but
I mean, yeah, but I just don't think it's going to be enough.
At the end of the day, I did have to pick Marquette.
Yeah, I just don't trust the Vermont right now. I know that they had a really good season, but I just don't think they have enough.
Yeah, obviously struggling a bit in that America East Championship game. All right, top of the Midwest region that'll be played in Kansas City. We got here, Charlie, Houston and Northern Kentucky. I think we know where
Northern
this one's headed.
Kentucky's going to lose that one, and Houston will advance.
Houston will probably advance. I'm with you. Iowa-Auburn. This one gave me great pause.
This one did too. Who are you going with?
Locations matter. It's in Birmingham. This is in Alabama. This game's going to Auburn.
Yeah, I thought about that. I've only seen one game of either of those teams, and I saw Iowa, and they played pretty well. I don't really know. I think this is going to be a super close game, but I have to take Iowa.
Was that the game where they just had that insane game against Michigan State, or really those insane minute against Michigan State?
I think it might have been.
That was an insane game.
I think it might have been. All right, Miami, Florida, and Drake.
So you went Auburn in this one.
No, I went Iowa.
You went Iowa. Okay.
All right, Drake and Miami, Florida.
Great opportunity right here for my first 12-5 upset.
You're going Drake.
I'm going Drake.
See,
Miami's overrated.
I thought about it, but I will be taking Miami.
You will go with the Hurricanes? Okay.
Yes.
I see it. Indiana, Kent State. Indiana's looked really inconsistent recently, Charlie. With that said, is that enough to make you pick Kent State?
No, but I don't think Indiana's going to get very far.
That is a completely fair argument. And it would be one that I definitely would make if I had them even getting past the first round.
You have Kent State.
Give me a 12-3 matchup between Drake and Kent State.
Oh my god!
Give it to me. And never say again that I do not make bold picks.
Oh, you'll see. Trust me, this is just the beginning for me, dude.
Oh, I believe that.
All right, Iowa State and Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Pitt played a pretty impressive game against Mississippi State last night. Like I said earlier, though, very high on both the men's and women's Iowa State squads. Give me the Cyclones.
I'll take Iowa State as well.
All right. This is an interesting one, Charlie. On paper, it should be easy. This is Xavier and Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State, first ever appearance in the NCAA tournament. 4 years ago, they won one game. But now they're here. It's a pretty good story, actually.
You don't have them winning, do you?
I did have them winning, but I changed it this morning.
Yeah, I love this story, but I just can't see it. I'm going Xavier.
Yeah, like I said, I had it for a while, but
you know what I can see?
What?
Texas A&M losing.
Texas A&M is a really interesting squad because they missed the tournament last year, fairly or not. I don't know. They were right on the bubble. They spent the entire offseason talking about how they were snubbed, arguably underseeded this year, though that may partly also be due to the fact that they had a horrid out-of-conference schedule. I don't see them winning, and Penn State ended the season well.
You're going Penn State?
Yeah, I assume you're doing the same?
Yep. And then Texas and Colgate.
Yeah,
so Texas versus toothpaste.
yeah, give me Texas.
Give me Texas.
Also Texas A&M can go suck it.
All right, Kansas and Howard.
Do you think that Jimbo Fisher will show up to some of those matchups?
He might.
I mean, actually, he probably won't because he knows. I imagine that he knows that if he wasn't owed like $90 million, then he would have already been fired.
All right, let's finish this up. Kansas and Howard.
Duh, Howard. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Now I will say, my bracket in the West is nuts, but it's not that nuts. I'm going Kansas.
Yeah. I had to imagine that you were going Kansas. I would have been shocked if you didn't. Arkansas, Illinois.
See, this one made me think.
Same. I went back and forth on this one for a long time.
As did I. This is my third separate time answering this. Who do you have?
Illinois.
Me too.
All right.
St. Mary's, VCU.
This has got to be the most expected 12-5 matchups, or 12-5 upsets, and frankly, give me VCU.
I will take that. I will take that as well.
Charlie, here's the thing. I get that it was against Gonzaga, but did you see what happened to St. Mary's in Vegas last week?
I did not.
They got absolutely destroyed. Like, let's see. Gonzaga.
Hey, real quick, yeah. Colin. While we're doing that, let's make predictions for the next one. UConn and Iona.
UConn. You're going Iona, aren't you? Of course you are.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Of course you are. This is in Albany, by the way, which I get it's fairly close to Iona, but it's also not far from UConn. And who do you think?
Colin, it's Iona. They don't need any explanation. I'm picking them anyway.
If you say so. Yeah, Gonzaga, by the way, they beat St. Mary's at a neutral site in the West Coast Conference Tournament Championship by 26.
Yikes!
And frankly, it probably should have been by more than 26.
All right.
Speaking of Gonzaga, what?
Speaking of Gonzaga, they're coming up in 2 matches. But first, TCU, or who won that Arizona State-Nevada game?
Well, by last check, Arizona State had a pretty large lead.
All right, well, let's assume. Okay, well, either one. I have TCU.
Horned Frogs haven't looked good recently. Give me ASU.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, really. Gonzaga, Grand Canyon.
There's a time and a place in every tournament for picking against Gonzaga. The first round is not that time and place, though.
You're taking Gonzaga?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing.
Yeah. All right. 2 more matchups here in the first round. We've got Northwestern Boise State and UCLA, UNC, Asheville. These are in Sacramento. Start with Northwestern, Boise State.
All right. Now, this one actually made me think surprisingly, but I will go with Northwestern.
I got Boise State. I am very, very high on that Mountain West Conference. And final one,
UCLA. UCLA, UNC, Asheville.
It's UCLA. There's not a question.
Okay. Am I stupid for saying that this one made me think?
Yes.
Okay. Because it didn't, because I picked UCLA.
Thank goodness.
All right, round 2.
Round 2. We are going on to round number 2. Alabama, West Virginia for both of us, correct? In Birmingham?
Yeah, I'm taking Alabama.
I so badly don't want to, but I have to.
Yeah, me too.
Just give me a second. I'll be right back in a moment, and we will continue, okay?
All right. Colin previously mentioned the Aaron Rodgers trade. And yeah, I just don't see this. I think he should have retired. He had a bad year in Green Bay. He has an opportunity in New York. We'll see what the trade deal that they end up giving him is. I think they're giving the Packers a lot of fuel. And I just don't think they're going to get very much out of it, even if they make the playoffs. Even if they do.
I'm back. Got to agree. And I'll let you rant even more when we record on Monday.
All right. They won't beat Cincinnati. I don't even think they can beat Buffalo, and I don't think they can beat Miami.
Yeah, all right.
Let alone Kansas City.
All right, so we both have Alabama into the Sweet 16. What about San Diego State, Virginia? That's a good matchup, Charlie.
I'm going to, as you said, Virginia. I just don't know about Virginia. I'm going San Diego State.
As am I.
All right. Creighton, Baylor.
I don't have Creighton. I have NC State.
You're right. I have Creighton, Baylor. I will be going Baylor.
I will not.
You have... Okay. Is this revenge for me being stupid with the Iona thing?
Charlie, I finished my brackets. I have not made a change to my brackets since about 9 a.m. this morning.
I didn't do my bracket till about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. No, I haven't changed my bracket since about 9 a.m. this morning. I will probably change it again later, but no, I like NC State to the next round.
All right. So next up then is Missouri.
Nope, Utah State for me.
You have Utah State. I have Missouri and Arizona, and I will go with Arizona.
Yeah, does it matter?
No.
No. All right. We have a very similar Sweet 16 in the South region. One difference, pretty substantial difference, but see where the East region takes us. This is Purdue, and I think we both chose Memphis, Charlie.
We did, and I have Purdue.
It's the Big 12, but it's also Purdue, and Purdue's at Purdue. I think might be immune to the Big 10 curse. Purdue.
All right.
Next, Charlie.
You have Duke, and I have Oral Roberts, and we both have Tennessee.
Yes. I assume you're picking Oral Roberts.
Yes, actually, yes, I am.
I'm picking Duke, but here's the thing, right? Whoever won that Duke Oral Roberts game, whoever wins that Duke Oral Roberts game, I think will go to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think Tennessee's strong enough.
Yeah, I agree.
You've got Providence, Kansas State, and I've got Kentucky, Kansas
State. I have
State.
Kansas State.
I got the what even is Kentucky? Is Kentucky the Wildcats?
Yes.
I got the Wildcats.
Do you?
Yeah.
As unstable as they are, you have them.
As unstable as they are. And they are very unstable. But I have them.
All right. And then we both have Michigan and Marquette.
And that is a pick that actually, the more I think about it, the more I dislike. So there's a good chance that that's getting changed at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.
You have Michigan and Marquette, right?
Michigan State and Marquette, yes.
All right. I'm going to go Marquette.
As am I.
All right. Let's move on to the other side of the bracket then.
Yep, and that is in Birmingham again. This is Houston, and you've got Iowa. I've got Auburn.
All right, I think Houston's winning.
There's a world in which I think Auburn could beat Houston in Birmingham, but this is not that world.
So you're going with
what even are they? Are they the Cougars?
I don't know. You're going with Houston though?
Yeah.
All right, who you taking? You have Drake and Kent State, right?
I have Drake and Kent State.
I have Indiana. I am being reasonable, and I have Miami and Indiana, and I have Indiana moving on.
Fair. I don't see a 13 seed getting that far though, to all the way to the Sweet 16. Give me Drake.
All right. All right, and who do you have next? I believe that we both have Iowa State and Xavier.
Iowa State and Xavier is, yes, both of our matchups, yeah.
I'll take Xavier.
It still pains me so much that I didn't pick Kennesaw State against Xavier.
Yeah, me too.
It's not the type of thing I'm going to change because I know it's the right call, although I'll be kicking myself if somehow Kennesaw State pulls off the upset.
I will too, honestly.
Xavier will fall, though, in the second round.
You're taking Iowa State?
And the Iowa State. And you picked Xavier?
I did pick Xavier.
You picked Xavier, okay. And final matchup in the Midwest region in the second round. Penn State, Texas for both of us?
Yeah, Texas for both.
You've got Texas?
Yes.
I do not.
Really?
Yep.
All right. Man, we're really going nuts here, aren't we?
We're really going nuts, and it's been taking a while, so let's speed things up a little bit. We enter the final few rounds of the tournament, and we'll log off of here to try to be done by around 8:30 or so.
All right, sounds good, because I want to go to bed.
You're going to go to bed that early?
Yeah, I'm tired, man. We have a day tomorrow.
Oh,
I don't know what kind of day, but we got a day tomorrow.
We have that, right. Kansas and Illinois for both of us, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, we both have that, and I don't really think that's a question that we need to answer because it's Kansas.
It's Kansas.
No way around it. Kansas.
Okay.
All right.
VCU Iona, and I know that you're going to pick Iona. I have VCU UConn. I'm going to pick UConn.
I'm picking Iona.
Of course you are. Why would you not?
Upset.
If you pick Iona to win the whole thing.
Okay, no, don't worry. I don't have them beating Kansas.
And there goes our viewers because you spoiled it too early.
Ah, shoot. Okay. Oh, well.
All right.
I don't think them knowing that Iona isn't going to win the tournament is very interesting.
But hey, if they thought that you might actually pick Iona to win the tournament, then maybe people would stick around to see.
Who knows? Maybe I lied to the viewers.
Yeah. All right. What is this? You have TCU Gonzaga, and I'm going ASU Gonzaga?
Gonzaga.
You're going Gonzaga here?
Yes.
Yeah. So am I. Like I said, there will come a time in this tournament where I pick against Gonzaga. I'll give you that spoiler of mine.
Today is not that day.
Well, I will pick against them in a few minutes.
This match is not that day.
Yes. You got Northwestern UCLA and going Boise State UCLA?
UCLA.
Yeah. Which means, Charlie, give me a rematch of that insane Final Four game from 2021 between Gonzaga and UCLA.
Oh, what a great game that was.
And remember, UCLA was an 11th. They were a play-in team that year.
Yes, they were. That was
We'll get to that in a minute, but now it's regionals time. We're on to the regional semifinals. We'll start in the South region in Louisville. This one taking place, this Sweet 16 games taking place on Friday, the 23rd, the 24th. Really looking forward to some of these matchups, Charlie. Alabama, San Diego State is the direction that I believe both of us chose to go here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Alabama.
You're gonna take Alabama.
Yeah.
I will as well.
All right. And then the next match is Baylor and Arizona for both of us.
No, I have NC State, but I imagine that we're both picking Arizona to win this one.
Yes.
That's going to be a good Elite Eight matchup, Alabama, Arizona.
Really hope Purdue, Oral Roberts. Who are you going for?
Oh, I don't have Oral Roberts. I have Duke.
Okay, Purdue and Duke, and for me, Purdue and Oral Roberts.
Duke.
I'm yeah, considering how weak Purdue is, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm taking Oral Roberts to the what is that? The Elite Eight? Yes, it is.
Yeah, to the Elite Eight. Wow.
All right, and
that's all I'm gonna say, Charlie. Wow.
I mean, we always have one team that just goes nuts when they shouldn't.
You got Kansas State, if I'm correct, against Marquette.
Yes, and I have Marquette as well.
I'm going Kentucky. I had Kentucky as opposed to Kansas State, and I have them beating Marquette.
Okay, I will say it again. As unstable as they are, you still have them advancing.
Yes, I do. I think that I don't think that Marquette is as good of a team as people think.
Okay, who you have?
And I might be very wrong because they did just win the Big East tournament.
Okay, Houston, and we both have Indiana. No, you don't. You have Drake. Right?
Yeah, correct. I have Drake.
You have Houston and Drake.
It doesn't matter, Houston.
It doesn't matter. Houston's moving on. Okay, yeah. you have Penn State and Iowa State, right?
No.
No?
Oh yes, I do.
Okay, I have Xavier and Texas, and I'm taking Xavier.
Yeah, I'm riding Penn State all the way to the Elite Eight and maybe beyond. We'll see in a minute.
All right, Kansas, and I'm sorry, Iona, I have to do it. Kansas is moving on.
You had to, Charlie. You betrayed them.
I did, but they can't beat Kansas.
Charlie, what are the odds of both the men's and women's teams from Iona moving on to? Did you have them? You had Iona only getting to the Sweet 16, but what are you doing?
I don't know. I like them.
Why?
I don't know. Their name's funny.
All right, Gonzaga and UCLA.
Okay, by the way, man, I had never heard of Iona before this started, by the way.
Okay, great. I feel even better about Charlie's picks now.
Same here.
Guys, to all of our listeners, we are not offering betting advice.
All in on Iona.
Okay.
Well, I've gone bankrupt. Oh well, I have to leave now.
Gonzaga, UCLA, Charlie.
I have Gonzaga.
Same.
All right. Let's move on to the Elite Eight.
Yes, this one, South Region in Louisville, the 26th day of March. Alabama and Arizona spot in the Final Four on the line, Charlie.
I'll take Alabama.
That's a pick. You're wrong, but that's a pick.
You're going Arizona.
Yeah.
All right.
But again, I need to totally rethink my bracket tonight.
You know, hang on. I don't know about that, but we'll see.
We'll see on what?
On that Arizona pick, because I don't agree with that one.
Yeah, all right. East Region, March 25th. According to Charlie, this is at Madison Square Garden. According to Charlie, it's going to be Marquette and Oral Roberts. And according to me, a clash of the Blue Bloods, Duke and Kentucky. And man, oh man, do I want to see that matchup.
Yeah, I'll take, as in my matchup, I'll take Marquette.
Okay. They're going to do it again. They're going back to the Final Four, back-to-back years. Give me the Duke Blue Devils to the Final Four.
All right. On the other side, I have Houston and Xavier. You have Houston and Penn State, right?
Penn State. Yeah, this is Midwest region on, I believe that this is on the 26th.
Give me Houston.
Kansas City. Yeah, Houston to the Final Four.
All right, Final Four time. I have Alabama and Marquette. You have Arizona.
You forgot a region.
Sorry?
You forgot a region. The West region.
Yes, I did. The West.
Out in Vegas, Gonzaga and Kansas. That's a heck of a matchup.
Who you taking?
Oh, wait, no. Sorry. I did not have Kansas there.
That's right. You don't.
I had UConn beating Kansas in the Sweet 16. So I never said what I was going to do in that one. But yeah, I picked UConn to beat Kansas. I never said because we were talking about Iona, Kansas for a while.
Oh,
I never said my pick. I never said I have UConn Gonzaga.
All right. Who's winning that?
Like I said, there's a time to pick against the Zags. And I think that time's arrived. You're
riding all the way on Iowa, aren't you?
No, on UConn.
Oh, sorry, on UConn.
I have both UConn teams in the Final Four.
I have Gonzaga. The one time that Gonzaga is under the radar is the one time that they're going to do really well. We'll see.
It is a fair point that I think that them being under the radar will actually help them.
All right, who you have in Alabama? You have Arizona and Duke, don't you?
Yeah, Arizona and Duke. This is April 1st in Houston.
All right, who you have?
Ooh. Arizona.
I have Alabama and Marquette. Give me Alabama.
By the way, this is the second straight year that I picked Arizona to go to the finals. I actually picked them to win it all last year.
How did that work out for you?
About as well as your pick of Iona is going to work.
Well, we don't know. That hasn't happened yet.
About as well as my pick of Kentucky to the Final Four last year went.
Oh, all right.
Charlie,
all right.
Charlie, in the Final Four last year, I had Kentucky, Arizona, Gonzaga, and I don't remember who my other team was.
I only remember two of the teams I put in the Final Four. And knowing me, who do you think I had in my Final Four? The only two I remember.
You probably had, like, St. Peter's and, like...
Okay, hang on, real quick. Yes, I did. I did have St. Peter's.
You gotta be kidding.
I had St. Peter's and Gonzaga.
Okay.
And I also think I had... I don't even remember who my other two were, but...
All right, Charlie, give me your pick of... you got Houston and Gonzaga.
Again.
UConn.
Give me Gonzaga.
I want to choose UConn so badly.
You're going Houston, though, aren't you?
This is in Houston is the thing, right? When has a team ever really had home court advantage in the Final Four?
Not often.
I'm choosing Houston, and you know what? I'm going to ride them all the way. They're beating Arizona in the finals. Houston will be the 2023 NCAA champions.
You know what? I'm going to ride my pick as well. Gonzaga takes down Alabama.
I thought that might be where you were headed.
All right. Well.
And now reading my bracket out loud made me realize just how bad it was. So it might be time to rethink this entire thing.
Yeah, I got some Iona-ing to do.
Are you gonna go back on some of those picks?
I might. No, of course
I have. Yeah, I have 12 and a half hours to make my picks. Everyone listening, make sure to get your picks in for your bracket as well. And your bracket will, just like mine, not be perfect.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Charlie, we know that.
Okay, that's fair. But I mean, like, every single bracket does not have an equal chance. That's why you should always pick Iona.
Has Iona ever won a tournament game?
You know what? Doesn't matter. See you next time, everybody.